A pretty good start to the day today. I was talking to my partners at Punch the Clock earlier. I was going to do a video, but I decided to do one for them first. Some great news. You guys know that we have toiled and I chewed my nails down to nothing, as I said to them. Really concerned because for those of you who don't know the surroundings of Punch the Clock one, this was a very highly touted filly that we decided to breed. We thought that commercially speaking, her in foal to Walner was worth probably a lot of money, and this would have been the best way forward for us starting into the winter. So we took our time, we sent her to the breeding farm, and the only way we could secure a Walner breeding was to do what other people on the outside had to do all season long, and that was buy the Walner breeding for asking price, upfront cash, no guarantees. Which at the time in January, you're like, there's a healthy filly with no reason why she would not get in foal. Why would we have any concerns? So we went ahead with it. Well, February, March, April, May, into the start of June, we couldn't get her in foal. There was always a reason. She was has showed a little infection. There was a high white count. There was a little bacteria found, but it was constantly staying ahead of the farm. And we didn't have her at, Joe Blow's llama farm and an offshoot breeding operation for standardbreds. She was at Southwind Farms and then transferred under the care of the reproductive specialists at Walnridge Farms. Well, I appreciate everything that Laura did at Southwind Farms. She was fantastic for us. In Walnridge, Dr. Alyssa had called me and said, very frank, had a very good conversation in an afternoon about a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. She said, Mr. McDonald, I'm well aware of everything that is going on regarding the stud fee and regarding the breeding. I can tell you that there is no physical or medical reason that Punch the Clock isn't in foal, other than, I can tell you that she's had bacteria twice cultured now after we found out she wasn't in foal. She goes, I've seen this before, and my concern is, although I don't think there'll be any issue in the future with breeding her, we've had our best results if we just let the mare cool down, stay healthy, and then start fresh next year. Having said that, I recognize fully what that means for you and your partners regarding Punch the Clock and the walnut breeding this year. So I will give you an alternative. She goes, have you ever thought much about embryo transfer? No, I've seen lots of them. It's something we generally look at as maybe a savings, as I like to say, a way in at the sales. But over the last couple of years, even that has been squashed, right? Some very high-priced embryo transfer yearlings went through the ring in Kentucky and in Harrisburg last year. So even that is kind of fallen by the wayside. She said, well, the success rate once you have a viable egg put into a donor mare is exceptionally high. She was, and I believe we can get an egg no problem fertilized from Punch the Clock. She explained the process, and if I'm wrong in explaining what I did, it might have sounded like I knew what I was talking about, but I don't. I'm pretty sure I was speaking verbatim, almost. Fertilize the egg inside Punch the Clock, then transport a fertilized egg into a donor mare. I believe that's the process. So with really nothing else to lose, what she was saying is, I'm not confident saying that we can get Punch the Clock in full in Punch the Clock. I am confident, or mildly confident, we can get a full out of this using embryo transfer. Now, there were some components that went into this, and a very major one was the fact that we can start back breeding early on Punch the Clock next year also. Because, say we get a May foal, a late May foal from Punch the Clock, that screws up our cycles potentially for quite a while. Unless you can continue to get her in her full heat, which is not likely. So all this constituted a plan, an optimistic plan moving forward. So we went through with it. Put the egg in the donor mare, and I got the call this morning at 10:30 in the morning that the donor mare was indeed confirmed in full. So a great job by absolutely everybody involved with Punch the Clock and her pregnancy, and then all the way down to Haley Moore also with the mare. Now that was some exciting news. We started the day in Pennsylvania. I wanted to go into the races with my eyes wide open. When it came to Blue Ventura, to me, I knew who the 2 horses to beat were, the 3 and the 6. Both looked legit. Both look potentially better than Blue Ventura. So how do we level the playing field? Well, Hunter Myers landed on the front with his horse, and it looked like Ronnie Wren was about to quarter move out of the 2-hole with his. Now, it's a short field. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he wasn't. But it looked like he was getting a little antsy. And Ronnie Wren on the front meant that I had to be first over or just take the scraps when it came to Blue Ventura. I didn't really want to be first over, and the last thing I want to do is tow Brian Brown's horse into the winner's circle, which is exactly what Ronnie did. Now, as I cleared, I quarter poled him in the front. Hunter was looking to get covered up. Surely he didn't want to be on the front with this horse. Maybe he wasn't worried about mine, but certainly the other 2 were on the forefront of his game plan. So I came at the quarter pole with Blue Ventura thinking, best case scenario, I move, Ronnie comes, I cut him loose. Worst case scenario, I'm on the front, I get things my own way for a little bit. Ronnie comes, and we see what he's made of. Well, it was worst case. But if you notice, clearing the front of the half, Blue Ventura got out of gear a little bit. I know I noticed, and I'm sure you did too. And what I believe you saw is him slipping a little bit, right? As he was switching gears. We went from a little bit high stress, clearing the front, to gearing down in low stress. And as he was making that transition, got out of gear. Now, I didn't almost lose him, but I definitely noticed it. And he wears mushroom burrs up front, just full swedges. And I'm 99% sure that he was just slipping. Now, as Ronnie came to me with the earplugs in, I still had mine in, and we were really starting to pace. And when you have a horse doubled up on a deep track, it's okay. It's when you release that bit from their jaw and ask them to pace forward, and you get in a little bit of trouble. And it only took about 4 or 5 pylons for Blue Ventura to go from looking for a fight to looking for the line. And to me, that also constituted one of 2 things. Either he was slipping and got tired out quickly, or he bled a little bit or had mucus, which is possible. Now we scoped him, no blood, no mucus, no pimples. Now I'm certain and very confident in saying that just couldn't get a hold of the track with those full swedges on. So we're going to move him to an aluminum mushroom bar. I still believe the corners of those feet are going to stay a problem for the season. I don't want to put him into a spot where he's uncomfortable in his feet. So I think we'll go in between. We'll go to an aluminum shoe, the reason being the front part of that shoe's got a lot more grab on it than a full swedge. So we'll go to an aluminum alloyed mushroom bar on Blue Ventura. The other thing was, obviously, especially watching the fillies the other day, there's nothing wrong with having a good Buckeye colt, and he will be a good Buckeye colt, but I'd like to stay clear of the Sire Stakes with him for obvious reasons. Burke has raced at least 3 horses I've seen now that we want no part of. There's nothing wrong with that. Still a legit nice colt. There just seems to be a lot of them out there. So why don't we just race him in with his company until we get into the dog days of summer. We can, assess the situation a little bit better. And if he changes our mind, great. If he doesn't, it's okay too. So that's the plan with Blue Ventura. Very revealing. And I'll tell you why it was also very, very revealing today. And I'm actually glad it played out the way it did, was because Time Is On My Side wears the exact same shoes. Track was deep today, but the track is going to get deep when it gets hot. You can't pour enough water to this track when it's hot out. Screen it and water it. Now, I know they like to dig it up here, and you'll find that on the cooler days, or the days where it's a little overcast, or it rained hard the night before, or it is raining a little bit, this track almost seems a lot faster because it tightens quickly under rain and water. And then when they dig it up, it kind of slows a bit. So I'm not going to tempt fate with Time Is On My Side. Also, Tim and I talked about this right after the race. I said, pretty sure this colt's slipping. We'll scope him. And if he is slipping, that's very telling for another colt in our barn. You might want to slide those aluminum mushrooms on Time Is On My Side. Also, train him a little bit Tuesday. His scheduled race for us is next Saturday afternoon at the Meadows. Train him a little Tuesday, maybe 2.2 to 2.5, stretch him out the last 8th, and see how he feels in aluminum mushroom bars, because I fear the same thing will happen with him that happened today with Blue Ventura. So a very revealing start to our day. And then the 4th race, I am very, very enthusiastic with the way I see things happening with ready for landing. Today was the first day we'd worn earplugs on him. Took the hood off him. I went to leave out. I wanted to sit behind open bar, but I just couldn't quite out trot the 1 and 2. And Ready for Landing was completely polite enough to drop in behind them. Very subdued, very smart and cerebral about the way he did his work. Dropped him in the 4-hole. No, I'm not coming first over into that horse. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit right here and see what he does. And as I weaved him out and kicked those earplugs out, he bounced forward and raced absolutely fantastic. I see a very nice horse appearing in Ready for Landing. He's been really difficult to deal with. James and Dominic did a tremendous job teaching him when he was in a stage of his life where he really was difficult to teach. But now he's in a much more intelligent mindset than he's ever been before. For this horse to go from what he was to what he is truly impressive. You could almost take the hobbles off of him right now. We will, I think, at some point down the road. I think his next biggest test, aside from these races, if he continues on this trajectory, will be maybe the B or C division of the Beal, if he can find his way into there. And if he can do well in there, then there are races for him later on in the season also. I was very, very impressed with what I saw from Ready for Landing today. Leave, sit, intelligently wait, and then the last 100 yards sprint as hard as he could. It's all you can ask for from a horse, and I think he is now turning into the horse we really have been waiting a very, very long time for him to be. Now, it's not lost on me that the Beal from a non-winners of 3 at the Meadows is a long stretch. I get it. I'm simply extrapolating what I've seen to date and saying that we can get to that type of horse, I believe. If he has the overall talent, which I believe he does. So super happy with what I saw today for the Meadows. On my way to Scioto, I'm going to be super happy actually at 4 o'clock, as I'm going to see Amy, my wife, my kids, going to go swimming at the hotel for a little bit, and then make our way also over to the Meadows tonight over to the Scioto tonight for some racing. You know, I'm like everybody else. I'm in 4 races, so obviously I'm going to win all 4 of them. I'm trying to figure out the best way for us to get the best results tonight, and knowing full well that there is at least 36 other people out there trying to figure out a way to do the same. So that's what we have going on right now. I got a 2-hour drive ahead of me. I'm going to do your videos. For today, I guess I'm not going to do the opening. I know it's a big risk, because if it's not a favorable night tonight, it's going to be gloomy tomorrow for me. But at the same token, how can I possibly do, realistically, anything other than the 3-year-old video and the racehorse video today? How can I possibly do more than those 2? So I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to send you this video. Really, really happy with what I saw today thus far. Hopefully we keep that going right into this evening. So if you're racing tonight, good luck. If you're racing tomorrow in Oak Grove, good luck to you again. Good luck to all of us and everybody at the stable. The summer, actually, I've touted it starting a couple of times now. Summer starts now. The summer starts now, but it really does start right now. So with that, I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Good luck to everybody tonight.